The effect that growing up in poverty has upon children is often overlooked by those who never experienced it themselves.
All is quiet except for this song. So maybe while I'm not together, I can feel like I'm not alone. Somewhere off in the distance, rapidly advancing, is an onslaught of swords, young sirens wail in a skewed sense of glory, and the lions in the cages roar a memory of fight. And there's a joy in all I can see, a joy.
In the clustered neighborhood of South Boston, there is a somewhat humorous stereotype that the children have two ways in which they could achieve success: as a cop or as a criminal. Upon losing his arm in an accident, James Bulger Sr. was forced into poverty, finding very few job opportunities, and he moved into the Old Harbor Housing Project in South Boston upon its opening in 1936. It was in this location where Whitey and Billy Bulger grew up.
A joy in all I can see, a joy in every possibility.
The persona of Whitey Bulger is mythical in South Boston. A lot of that has to do with fear. There's no question, for the better part of 3 decades, he terrorized this area.
James Whitey Bulger became one of Boston's most notorious gangsters.
The criminal element in that town, he basically controlled, for a generation. Nothing happened in that town that he didn't have a piece of.
A lot of people's lives were ruined because of Whitey Bulger. Not only murdered, but families got their sons and daughters addicted to drugs. A lot of that happened on Whitey's watch.
The story has had so many twists and turns. The sad thing is that so much time has passed that a lot of people who were corrupt, a lot of people did get away.
With their parents focusing on their own problems, Whitey found his way into trouble joining a street gang referred to as the Shamrocks, and was eventually sent to a reform school while his younger brother ignored the allure of street crime and excelled in his studies. Once released from his reformatory, Whitey joined the Air Force and left with an honorable discharge in 1952, only to continue his life of crime. After a string of robberies across the country, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison, of which he served 9 due to his agreement to test LSD for a shortened sentence. Bulger claimed that this testing led him to insomnia and mental instability. During Whitey's imprisonment, his little brother Billy attended Boston College High School and eventually Boston College, where he studied law. In 1961, he was elected into the House of Representatives, where he served 4 consecutive terms until his election as the president of Massachusetts State Senate. After his release, Whitey was immediately given a job as a janitor at the State House by his brother, a move which many people see as a sign that the two were associated in their separate lines of work. No evidence has been found to prove this theory, but when asked about his brother, Billy pleads the fifth and states, "He's my brother. I love him." Although occupied with a job, Whitey still continued his criminal lifestyle, becoming affiliated with the Killeen Gang. When the boss of the Killeen Gang was killed, Bulger was offered work by the Winter Hill Gang, located in nearby Somerville, Massachusetts. After Winter Hill Gang leader Howie Winter was arrested in 1979, Whitey and his right-hand man Stephen Formey teamed together and began using their positions as FBI informants to eliminate people who they saw as being threats to their growing power, namely the patriarch of the crime family. By the mid-1980s, Bulger and his gang were responsible for almost all of the racketeering involved in New England, as well as much of the trafficking of marijuana and cocaine. Bulger refused to sell any other drugs, claiming that they were dirty and undesirable. He even made sure that heroin dealers in his neighborhood were put out of business. Bulger was notorious for his criminal activities, but he was able to gain a reputation as Southie's Robin Hood by those who did not know the true nature of his intent. In 1994, a joint task force collected evidence of Bulger's involvement in gambling operations. After being tipped off by retired FBI agent John Connolly, Bulger and his common-law wife Teresa Stanley took off and have yet to be heard from. In 1995, suspicion arose when Billy Bulger allegedly went to an arranged location to take a call from his fugitive brother. In 2003, he was subpoenaed to a court hearing in which he denied any involvement, stating, "I do not know where my brother is. I do not where he has been over the past 8 years. I have not aided James Bulger in any way while he has been a fugitive. Do I possess information that could lead to my brother's arrest? The honest answer is no." Despite Bulger's alleged involvement, it is impossible to know what really happened between the two brothers. It is often speculated that Whitey had a great deal to do with Billy's political success, and with South Boston's famous code of silence, it is easy to believe that involved parties would keep their mouths shut. Regardless, there is no overwhelming evidence to prove any involvement, as Billy is currently enjoying his retirement with his family, while Whitey is still on the loose. Numerous alleged sightings have been made of Bulger, but none of them have led to anything useful for the FBI. Nobody truly knows what he is up to as of this moment, but one thing for sure is that he planned his escape from society very cleverly.